of the Parks and Recreation Commission to order. The first item on the agenda is citizens communication. I don't see anyone. The commission welcomes comment on Parks and Recreation items not already scheduled on tonight's agenda. In accordance with the Texas Attorney General's opinion, any public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the commission. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made by the commission. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. We don't have anyone here, so we will move on to the next item, which is approval of minutes. Item 3A, discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Parks and Recreation Commission August 20th, 2015 regular meeting.
Everything looked in order to me on that.
Yeah.
Did anybody see any discrepancies?
No.
I would motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Minutes are approved. Next item, number 4, discuss only. 4A, director's updates, including information about the project status report, monthly departmental financials, and the Rosa Pfluger Tract and upcoming special events. And we'll turn it over to James. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Too good? Okay. All right. It's been a long month. We've got a lot going on and had a lot happen in the last month, so I'll jump straight into the projects. Pflugerville Heights, Black Locust Parks, they're still under construction. And the pavilions and the playgrounds have really been a holdup at this point. You know, we had such a huge delay in getting started for the contractor. Then they got started, and then we've been waiting on playgrounds and shelters. But those are going in. Pflugerville Heights is almost done with the playgrounds and shelter. Once it's ready to go, then the general contractor can finish up by putting down topsoil and seeding, and then they'll be completely done. I'm told both should be done in 30 days. Now, that's what I told you 30 days ago, but I think they're really getting close. We'll jump into some pictures.
Ooh,
They look really close.
Sign.
Yeah.
So this is obviously Pflugerville Heights. As you can tell, still needs the topsoil and seeding and all the grounds to kind of be raked out and prepped. But the playgrounds are in. The fall surface is in, so really the playgrounds are open now. The pavilion is open. Other than it being an active construction site, you know, I think the kids are probably taking advantage of it. This is just another picture of the playground. You can see there's still some construction stuff in the area, but we're really close to being done. And then this is a shot from the other vantage point. In the future, we are going to look at adding shade for these playgrounds. You know, we've said that our standard now is to have shade on the playgrounds, and as soon as we find some money, we're going to get it done, and it's at the top of our wish list now. On to Black Locust. This was a little bit further behind. The playground equipment is kind of spread out across the site, so they are staging it and getting it ready to go in. This is the very front of it with the landscape and the sign. And then here's kind of a collage that shows the pavilion area and then the large playground. Trees and different plantings are already in. So again, once a playground and the pavilion's done, the general contractor will get in, just kind of clean up the grounds, put down topsoil, put down seed, turn on the irrigation, and we'll try to get this thing finished up. On the bond projects, still working on some design for the trails and undeveloped parks. We're really close to getting a preliminary design report on the Stonehill project. The Highland Park project, we're a couple weeks behind the Stonehill on our preliminary design report. The preliminary design report, what we're doing, we're looking at all the things that were included in the master plan, really vetting those out again and determining whether or not they truly can go in. Also looking at environmental issues and concerns. The master plan didn't do any of that. We're doing that up front before we even get to heavy design. We're trying to identify if there's any wetlands or any antiquities and things like that. So we're going through all that right now. Sports complex, we did purchase a piece of property. It's the Rosa Pfluger Tract just east of 130 and Pecan. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Swenson Farm Trails project. This says they're currently working on surveying. They just finished the surveying late last week. And we should be getting a project schedule here pretty soon. So it's moving,
It's exciting.
but it's,
Things are
yeah,
finally happening.
it's moving slowly, but it is moving.
It's very exciting.
The Finnig parking lot and restroom project, design is just about completely done. We're going through permitting with the city right now. We're doing some just fine tuning based on some comments we received. The plan for this is to go out to bid in early October. We've ordered the restroom, and again, we're diligently working to have this complete by early 2016. So really the spring soccer season kicks off about mid-February is when they start practicing. So that's our target date, is having the parking lot and restroom in. Benches, we actually placed another order of benches. So we got twice as many as what we said we were going to do. And Patrick is going to work with the chair directly on locations.
Wow, this is like the best meeting.
Okay.
So we,
Like 6 years of projects and things.
we got a bunch of benches coming. We already had a delivery, and we got more coming. In your packet is departmental financials. This is the last one for the fiscal, or no, we are in the last month. Next meeting, we'll have the kind of not necessarily the closeout, but it will be based on the end of our fiscal year. Some of our line items are a little over, a lot of them are pretty good under, so we're sitting real pretty for financials on both departments. Any questions on financials?
I just had a question. When we finish the Pflugerville Heights and the Black Locust, is there going to be, like announcements and things like that in Key to the City?
Yes.
That kind of
Yes,
stuff?
and we're kind of talking about ribbon cutting. Not sure how we're going to do it, because we've got two parks that are really going to be done at the same time. But we are going to have something, definitely. Because, I mean, they're the first
I'm
ones
like,
that have been
what was
done
it? It
since
was
I've
like
been here
escrow,
2
yeah,
years.
I'm like Deutschenfest funds, right, and the escrow funds, and so things
Yes,
that
we're
were
definitely going to celebrate the opening of these parks.
National Night Out is coming. It'd be a great opportunity. Bring people out to the parks.
I'd really prefer to wait till the grass is growing, and I've opened parks when you don't have grass, and it always rains like the night before. And so people get there and they get muddy, and nobody enjoys themselves. But we'll work around. And National Night Out is actually a good idea.
because then
second-
those neighborhoods will actually have a nice
Yeah.
meeting place.
First
They sure will.
Tuesday in October.
October 6th.
That might be cutting it close, but we'll see.
Yeah, because that is less than
Yeah.
30 days from now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it is a target. If I can light some fires, we might be able to hit that.
I just want to jump in and say the signage y'all have for those two new parks is fabulous. That blue lettering on the white stones,
Yeah,
it's very
that's-
impressive. The
I
parks
will-
look good, even though they're not finished
Yeah.
out yet, but they really look quite impressive too, so.
Yeah, and it's not
Well done.
obtrusive. It's large when you're right there, but it blends in nice. So I think there
I
was
know
a
this
good,
is, we didn't have it on there, but we had talked about park signage before. Is that going to be the design that will slowly be introduced to the other existing parks?
we'll probably go through a process of actually determining whether or not that's the standard. That's what we kind of did with these projects, just to try it out, and the thought was probably a standard, but we're going to go through a process and vet with a lot of different people on whether or not that's what we want to do, because it is in stone and they're going to last a long time, and we don't want to have to replace them, in 10 years when there's a different idea about what they should look like. So yeah.
Yeah, but they are very striking.
Yes, they are. They stand out, look great.
Upcoming events. Again, every Tuesday through October at the Green Red Barn, we've got the farmers market. So we'll be going through October, and then we'll have one in November and one in December for our holiday farmers markets. This coming Friday night, 6:30, is our last concert in the park. It's Elizabeth McQueen and Trio Verde, so it's going to be jazz oriented. Last one of the season. Please join us. We'll have vendors there, different things going on, giveaways. Just come join us. On to the Rosa Pfluger tract. So I sent y'all an email with kind of a couple exhibits that showed you the property and kind of where it's located. The purpose of the purchase of the property is a community level park, so our largest classification of park that we have, and it's going to include sports and natural elements. sports. The sport complex is really a heavy driver, but the piece of property that we bought has got a lot of natural feature that really lends itself to being really two parks in one. So we'll definitely have sports in it because that was the main driver, but we're thinking of a lot of nature trails and a lot of different things. I mean, it could almost be Pflugerville Park within. The park's so large, and then the middle swath that's Wilbarger Creek. Wilbarger Creek is a lot like Pfluger and the tree cover and things like that. The city closes on the property on October 9th, and so we'll basically take possession the 9th and 10th.
October?
October. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is going to close.
Yes. We're
Oh,
gonna
okay,
close.
I thought we closed on it already.
No.
Okay.
So it's under contract.
It's under contract, yes.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
so we'll close on the 9th. You know, Trey and I were just kind of discussing, we've been saying 237 acres. It's actually 243.7 acres. So we picked up a few acres in there somehow. Yeah. Maybe we got them
We
for
got
free.
him.
How's the part on,
Yeah.
it's kind of a T shape.
Uh-huh.
How's the part that's on the other side of the water accessible?
There's a low water crossing on. I'll get to a slide here that will kind of show you how it's divvied up. There's about 147 acres that's cultivated cropland, so no trees, black dirt, ready to be sports fields. 36 acres that's treed, that's outside the floodplain area, and then about 60 acres of it's okay. 60 acres of actual floodplain there, but parks go in floodplain, so we won't put some things there, but a lot of other things we will. While a lot of it's generally flat, there is over 90 feet of elevation change. I was looking at it today on our topography map. The high point to the bottom of the creek, there's 90 feet difference. Wow. I was out there yesterday taking some pictures, and I was looking up the hill, and I was like, oh, that's probably 20 feet. But just looking at a topo map, there's 90 feet of elevation change.
Is that where the Pfluger Cemetery is?
It's right off the property. It's just north of the property. So again, this is one of the exhibits I sent you. We're right next to the Murkison House. It's the T here, down Cameron Road, and there's kind of Lake Pflugerville up there. Whoops. This is the actual survey. So there's the water. Let me get to a better slide that shows that to answer your question, Rhonda. There is a low water crossing to get across where there's a creek crossing. But you can actually access every part of the T, of that part of the T, without crossing the creek. The only crossing you have is to get back into that piece. I don't know how it is, but I was driving it today, and there's just the one crossing that we've got.
It looks like there's a bunch of water, but that's not
It
really
does,
water.
but no, that's
That's
the
just the
blue one
color
here is
code.
floodplain.
Okay.
Yeah, so the creek itself is a flowing creek. It's Wilbarger. It's real deep though and real narrow.
Mhm.
It may be 10 feet wide at spots and maybe even narrower, but it's really deep. So yeah, this exhibit, what's blue is floodplain. It's not actual water.
Okay.
Um,
Are some plans for, I know that's a little early, but for some nature trails, soft trails,
Definitely,
not
definitely.
concrete trails?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, the whole middle piece that's shown is this riparian area, the light green. That's all heavily treed. And then the floodplain, most of it is heavily treed as well.
So possibly a mountain bike trail, hiking trail.
Definitely.
Wonderful.
This is a picture of kind of the front, and I call it the front area. It's up on Cameron. When you first pull onto the property, you go back to the first tree line, and this is what you've got. It's area in full cultivation, and this is where the high point of the property is up here on to the left on this picture. There's actually an old house there. This is as close as I would get. It's so covered up, and I'm sure it's got
Snakes.
100,000 rattlesnakes in it, so I bet I got 40 feet from it, and that's as close as I would get. This is actually zoomed in with the camera because it was. But once we close on it, I kind of want to get out there and get this cleaned up so we can really evaluate and see what the value
See if
is there.
it's savable. That would be neat.
And this isn't the homestead, is it? Is this house? There's like 5 or 6 different structures here, and half of those were probably houses. Supposedly one of them is the original Pfluger homestead, or maybe not the original Pfluger, but a Pfluger homestead. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be really neat.
but we'll get the full history. Here's another structure that was kind of a barn or some kind of. Yeah. And as Trey says, we're doing a phase 1 environmental right now, which will go through and tell us a lot about this stuff. Here's another barn that's on the site, and this is all probably in the first third of the property before you up on the high part. And again, this is looking probably towards Manor. Cameron Road's going to be here on the right, and it's at the high point of the property. This, again, the first third in the property, there's a cross fence, and you can really see the drop. It starts to drop down, and you can see, it goes to Wilbarger Creek, and you can see a lot of, you could probably maybe even see into Williamson County from here. This is where it starts dropping off.
Pretty exciting.
More cropland down kind of in the bottom. There's a stock tank about in the middle of the site. Here's low water crossing. This is the only crossing that's on the property where to access, I think, everything. And then-
When that picture was taken, I noticed that there's water going across. Was it after a rain or?
This was taken yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So from the rains that we had just what day was that? Yeah, there's water flowing across. It was just a little bit. But this is taken yesterday.
Okay.
Again, more flat cropland. This is closer to the back of the property. And then here's the Pfluger Cemetery. It is right off the property.
I don't know where that is. Where is that in relation on this? Like,
Do you see my cursor?
uh-huh.
So right up in here, if you can see that this little piece right here that comes out, it's not treed.
Oh, okay.
That's where the cemetery is.
Oh, all right.
So it's just off the property. See if I could zoom in here. Could be. So it's probably right under the line of the T. Yep. Actually, here's you see the crop line, and that's actually the dividing point. So it's just right off the property is where the cemetery is. I think I was told, or I heard, that the latest headstone out there is dated 1913, I believe, or 1918 or 1913. That's the most recent.
Wow.
So, yeah.
100 years.
That's impressive.
And then this is looking down the property, the north property line. So everything that you see that's cultivated is basically will be the city's property, and then the non-cultivated to the right side is the property to the north.
Now, with the sale, is there any negotiations for a name for the namesake?
There was not. I believe it was kind of offered, but it wasn't taken. So. Yeah. Nothing's driving the name at this point. And another structure that's on the site. This is at the north end of the park property. Any questions?
When can we see it?
Yeah.
We'll have to figure out a time and a way to get everybody out there. The roads are not good.
I have a truck.
Well, yeah.
We can all pile in the truck.
Again, we'll take possession about the 10th.
The 10th.
of October. We did issue for an RFQ, and submissions were due today. They were due at 4. I did not get a count on how many we got, but I know there was already a lot of interest on firms. This is a very important project, and while we have a whole stack of priorities, this one definitely is a priority. Get moving on this. We will be starting with a master plan, but also with the beginning of the master plan, we're looking at developing some practice space down at where Cameron intersects the property. So down in the corner here, we're looking at immediately developing some practice space to meet those needs while we're doing the master plan.
And I know we talked about it at the agenda meeting, but you were saying that this now is replacing any plans that at the water treatment plant for
Correct.
practice.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
so we're not doing that anymore?
No, that's why we're proceeding with doing some practice space immediately here on the site. Yeah. We won't be doing anything at the,
That's $1 million that now they can
we've got
spend on
access
this
here.
land.
Okay.
I mean, we've got the access here to get there, and so we're gonna put all our efforts into this piece of property.
Are they going to fix the roads?
You mean the city street, or the roads to get there, or roads on the
that
property?
On the east side of 130, Con Street on the east side of 130 is really, really bad.
Well,
I mean,
that's already a
Bond.
funded bond project, and it's,
Yes, but when are they starting?
It's 90% or so designed. We started design before the bond election, and so we're going to be starting that hopefully, early next year probably. So we'll be replacing the 2-lane with the new 3 lanes, which is half of the ultimate 6, from 130 to Weiss, and then taper it down, and then rehabilitate it from Weiss to Cameron, so as it comes around. And then we don't do anything past that point because it's a county road. But with this project, we would straighten out the curve and probably extend this to come down like so.
Oh, so we're going to lose some park space?
As little as possible, but it's important to straighten this turnout. So.
I just thought it was fun.
But we netted 6 more acres.
Fun, but maybe not so safe.
But
I
to
don't
your
care
point,
about
the
those.
con plans are underway.
any questions on that? That's very exciting. I mean, it's,
Lots of
things move a lot
plans are
faster.
coming to
Yes,
fruition.
they are.
You can watch film movies next door. Let you confirm. House is right there.
And I think that's all I have for the director's report.
Property right next to it.
Great, well, thank you, James. It's wonderful to hear all the ways we're moving forward on the plans we've been working so hard on.
On the Swenson Park extension, not the fields, but the pathway that, the trail. Did you recap on that? Did I miss it? You recap on they designed it?
Survey.
No, it's just
Survey.
survey.
No, survey's
You
complete.
finished the
Was just
survey.
completed.
Uh-huh.
If she goes outside, we lose our corn. So yeah, they just completed surveying late last week.
Okay, but what's next?
No, the Swenson Trail. You're talking about Trail.
Gillen
Yeah.
Trail, right.
Yeah, that's the Texas Parks and Wildlife Fund.
So they've
Yep.
completely released it? We're ready to go?
Oh yeah, it's completely released. We've
Funded?
gone through an environmental. It's funded. We've completed surveying, and they're going to start on design. Yep, roll right into design. And,
How long is the design?
something like that shouldn't be any more than 6 months. But depending on what they find when they get out there and do some borings and stuff like that, I can't imagine it being any longer than 9. But it's probably going to be 5 or 6 months to design. And by the time we go to bid, it will be another month or so after that. It shouldn't take 6 months to build. It's pretty simple, concrete.
Is the designer
Pathway.
been chosen or did
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had a engineering firm under contract for over a year. July of 14, yeah, they've been under contract. So, no, everybody's stacked up, ready to go.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you tell me, I was on the subject, can you tell me on the trail if it's going to be able to go underneath Swenson Farms Road?
Yes,
It
it's
is
one-
there?
That is the intent. And so with the surveying and things like that, it's going to determine a lot of that.
Excellent.
But that is the intent for sure.
Oh,
It's
great.
to go under Heatherwild and Swenson, with
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know you can go there ahead a while. That's
yeah,
right.
with
Go-
the
going there
connections
now.
coming up, but definitely a kind of a through trail underneath.
That'd be great. That'd take that street
But
crossing
the
out.
surveying is very important because it kind of tells you what you can and can't do. There are I think some shelves underneath the bridges that we'll look at, and if we can accomplish, then we'll definitely go under.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
But that is the intent, is to go
I
under.
didn't realize it was going to be under Heatherwild as well. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Then
There's
you
already
have to-
there's kind of a trail there now.
Yeah, but then you leave it and you have to go across the street, and
Yeah.
so it'll definitely
This
be
would take out
safer
the
and
street
more.
crossing, yeah.
Most
Beautiful.
people go under the bridge anyway.
Yeah.
It's well traveled.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always gone with strollers, so. Great. Any other questions for James on the updates? Okay, so we'll move on to item 4B, staff report and discussion regarding parks operations and maintenance.
So Patrick and I are going to kind of tackle this together.
Okay.
We planned that I would do the kind of the first thing, the boring stuff, how we're set up, and that. Since all of y'all, well, actually, Lisa, you were not here last year, so yes.
So you have to go through.
So I have to go through. I have to go through the full dog and pony, but it'll be Shetland and Dachshund. I promise. So on our parks operation and maintenance side, organizational structure, we have our parks operations supervisor. We have 3 crew leaders, and then crews underneath that. We also have seasonals and part-time workers. Our seasonals and part-time workers primarily work the weekends during our non-peak season, but our true peak season. Our seasonals work most of the week, but definitely on the weekends, and our part-times on the weekends as well. We're split really into 3 different crews, and those are split by geographic locations. We have our north, which is generally divided, well, it is actually divided by 130 and Pecan. Our east, which is everything on the east side of 130, and then our south, which is west of 130, south of Pecan. While the size of the areas doesn't look balanced, the workload generally is. Each district, it kind of has certain things that are really the heavy, intense use. On the east, there's really 4 parks, maybe 5, I think 4 on the east, but they've got Lake Pflugerville, which is very intense. The north, they've got the bulk of the parks, but really the intense is Pfluger and Gilliland, and then Windermere, where we've got rental facilities. But we have 2 people dedicated 5 days a week to Gilliland and Pfluger. They're always there. So that helps with balance the load of that very large district. And then our south, there's not a lot of parks there. There's a lot of trails and green belts, but then Wells Point Soccer is there, which is during the soccer season is very intense use. So they're really divided to kind of divide up the workload, and they've all got their real intense use parks.
Now, I did have a question. I was perusing the proposed budget, and I was looking at the parks area, and I mentioned a few things about staffing changes, and I'm not 100% sure if it was related to talking about seasonal workers that was changing, or maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but are there any proposed changes for the next budget year?
We proposed a foreman position. And then there's been discussion, but it wasn't in the official proposal about doing a park ranger program or ambassador or whatever you want to call it. There's still kind of some discussions going on, but it's not in the current proposal. Other than that, no, we've got what we've got right now. We know that when we bring new parks online, especially the sports complex, we'll be bringing a whole new crew with associated equipment, trucks, and different things. So, but no, not right now. There's not really anything going in.
What about the additional work that will be anticipated with like the Highland Park and the Stonehill Parks?
So as those come online, then we'll be planning to add staff to
But
cover
that
it.
probably won't be till next budget year after they're
Yeah,
fully
it'll
open.
probably be a couple budget years.
Oh, okay.
So we'll probably start getting it on our 5-year. I think I've got it in the 5-year, actually. I just don't recall what year I had them, but it'll be based on when they're open is when we bring them on. We won't bring them on too early, and we definitely don't want to bring them on late. But yes, we'll be bringing on staff. Those parks themselves, I don't see them needing a full crew like the sports complex because it's not as intense
Yeah.
use, but we will need additional staff for those two, the Stonehill and the Highland Park for sure, because those are really big
Mhm.
community level parks.
And then, so Pflugerville Heights and Black Locust will just be absorbed.
They'll be
with the-
absorbed, yep. And it, unfortunately, it's the same crew that gets both of them, but, you know, they were kind of doing some work there since it was parkland, even though it was undeveloped. They would go by occasionally. They're going to have to go by more often now, but it'd just be absorbed. Again, this is just kind of defining the service areas. Really, the rounds are kind of the standard, and I don't want to say schedule, but these are kind of the regular things that occur every Monday morning. We know we've got to go out, check all the parks after the weekends. Definitely every Friday, get the parks ready for the weekends. Some of the parks will get clean in the middle of the week, some not. It just all depends on the use and the number of people that visit. Primary focus is trash cans, ground litter, and then identifying things that we need to repair or address in that week or on a different schedule. Restrooms, we've got plenty of restrooms. They're different frequencies, again, based on, you know, how much use we get. So Lake Pflugerville, somebody's always there every morning cleaning the bathrooms because it's the heaviest used park we've got when it comes to restrooms and things like that. Wells Point during the soccer season, yes, definitely somebody there. We've got somebody at Pfluger and Gillen 5 days a week. 7 days a week, if you count the part-time, they're rolling through on the weekends checking stuff. So, I mean, but then you get down to certain other restrooms that don't need to be checked but 3 times a week because of the use. Repairs and projects, these are scheduled around our regular rounds. So the regular rounds, again, is the just kind of litter control and, you know, putting the doggy bags in the pet dispensers and making sure the drinking fountains work and things like that. As they're going through doing the rounds, they're making a list of things that we need to repair. So if there's a broken bench, if there's a broken drinking fountain, if we get fix-it forms or citizen requests in, we'll get those on the schedule. Our emergency repairs always take precedence, though. So if we have a busted water line or if something's not safe, say it's a broken picnic table that's got, you know, sharp pieces of metal sticking out or a piece of playground equipment that's not safe, those always take precedence over all duties, including the rounds. Larger repairs, like whether it's a sidewalk repair or maybe a water main out in front of a park or something like that, if it's outside our expertise or we need additional support, Public Works is there to support us. They've got extra expertise and also a lot of the equipment, and they're our partner in a lot of the major repairs. Turf maintenance. So a year and a half ago, we pulled, Lisa, you probably don't have all the history. When I was hired, all parks maintenance was in Public Works. They had been moved at the beginning of that fiscal year out to Public Works. I was hired, and I brought some of the park maintenance staff back to Parks and Recreation. I pulled 13 back, and we left 7, and the 7 that we left were primarily the mowing crews. So Public Works does almost all the mowing in town. That includes parks, right-of-ways, drainage, detention ponds, things like that. The only mowing that we're doing is really specialized mowing on our sports fields. So we do have that expertise. So we do mow our own sports fields. Public Works will do the right-of-ways and our parks, whether it's contractor themselves. And with the mowing of the sports fields, we're also doing all the fertilization, the aeration, top dressing, things like that. So anything that's sports turf related, we're doing. But we're not mowing any trails, we're not mowing any parks, things like that. It's just really primarily the sports fields. And that's Bowles Park, Pfluger Park, Finnig, and Wells Point is where we're doing the sports fields. Playgrounds, visual inspections at least once per week. So during the rounds, the guys will look at them, and then periodically we'll do a more in-depth inspection, look for loose components. Patrick is a certified playground safety inspector. He's got the toolkit to do the full inspection, so we have capability on staff to inspect all of our playgrounds for all the safety measures. And then the engineered wood fiber, or FIBAR, which is what we primarily use for our fall surface, will refresh, replace, or replenish that as needed. And other is at the end of our list, but other is usually one of the largest things that we do, and we provide support for a majority of the city's special events. If you see the stage, the city stage, we put it up. If you see people picking up litter for a major event, we've got staff doing it. Everything in Parks and Rec, we lean on the Parks maintenance guys. They set up for all our senior luncheons. They set up for the music in the park. They set up for or help set up for the Firecracker Festival, Deutschenfest. All these things are one of the things we support. And then again, PokeWorks is our partner in a lot of stuff. So they help us with tree care, some setup of facilities and special projects. So we work real closely with PokeWorks. Challenges. One of the biggest challenges we have right now is our fix-it forms and our citizens' request, and managing the expectations of those. So if a resident is out, sees something, they'll send it in. If it's an emergency, we're on it. If it's something that we can get to pretty quickly, we're on it. If it's something that, hey, there's a pile of brush over here that's been here for 5 years and it's not in the way of anybody, but can you please get it? That'll get on a schedule, but we can't jump on it immediately. And I think a lot of times the expectation is when I submit this, I want to see it done now. Well, we're pretty good at prioritizing and laying out our schedule to get things addressed. Again, as I mentioned, this is from last year, a future challenge. We've got tenured staff. We're going to have retirements in the near future. I think in the next 5 years, we're probably going to have at least 3 retirements. You lose a lot of institutional knowledge and a lot of things when you have tenured staff retire. This says difficulty replacing staff due to pay structure. The city just went through a pay and classification study. It was we were able to get more help for our frontline workers. So that's not as big of as an issue as we'll have, but still retirements are going to hurt us when they occur. Goals and projects. Still a goal is to update and revise our park maintenance standards. That seems like something that's pretty easy, but gosh, when you got a lot of fires you're putting out and constantly being pulled in different directions, the paperwork is the thing that unfortunately that gets put to last. We're still working towards work order system. A lot of the departments did get together this last year, and this current fiscal year, we proposed a work order system to cover citywide in the budget. It wasn't able to go forward, but we're still going to try to work towards that. We've been pretty good at getting equipment replaced. There's a lot of equipment that really increases the efficiency of manpower, and so those are things that we really look at pretty heavy. So we're always trying to keep our equipment fresh, and then a standard key system. So we're working on that for the departments. How many keys you got, Patrick? How many things you got? And it's an efficiency thing, and it's also, there may be like 2 people that have the key, and those 2 people are off, and there's issues that you have when you've got tons of different locks. And then the other projects is occupancy sensors and restrooms and time locks in restrooms. These are kind of the occupancy is more energy conservation, but then the time locks is to cut down on graffiti and damage and things like that. So when the park's closed, the restroom doesn't need to be open. They're very effective in cutting down on the graffiti and vandalism that can occur in our restrooms.
So right now, does an employee have to go around and lock the restrooms, or they're just not locked?
It's a mixture. So like at Wells Point, We'll unlock during the day, but then we rely on Hazel to lock at night. Some of the restrooms are just open 24 hours a day. Others are locked. I mean, it's really a mixture. It depends on where they are, the use, and yeah,
There's- yeah, I was
Pfluger
gonna
doesn't have
say.
doors, right? Yeah.
So if we were going to go to a locking system, would Pfluger get a door?
Oh, we're planning on replacing the restrooms at Pfluger.
Okay.
It's
I
a
know that was
project.
on a list somewhere.
It is on a project list to replace those restrooms at Pfluger. And they will have real doors and time locks and everything else, so yeah.
And would there be an increase in the number of stalls?
Yes, definitely. Almost 2.5 fold, I believe is what
So
we're
go
looking
from
at.
2 to 5 each?
And really having with the,
Oh, okay. Then, all right. we'll
we
do
may
that.
not hit 7. If there's, I've never been on the ladies' side, so I can't tell you what's over there.
Those are all the time.
But I know on the men's
I
side.
try not to
we've
go
got-
there because that's I'm in the park all the time, so. Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely looking at adding a lot more capacity. It still won't cover Deutschenfest and
Yeah.
heavy weekends, but it'll cover most of the other weekends. And we're looking at having the ability of during the off season, there will only be a small piece of it that's open, and so there will be the majority of the restroom that won't be. So there's just different ways we're looking at doing stuff.
Why would you not open the whole restroom?
If it's not needed, because you're cleaning the whole
Clean
thing.
it a lot more.
Yeah. If the amount of use you get really only needs 2 water closets, don't open up 5 because you're going to clean all 5.
Daily.
I mean,
That's a lot of extra work.
it's all on the use, the amount of use. Yeah. Any questions on kind of the global look, and before I turn it over to Patrick?
I did have some questions on something wasn't mentioned but it's maintenance. I had turned in a work request for at the dog park. It had that water tank. Did anybody ever figure out what was going on? I mean, it was pouring out from the top, and you could tell that it wasn't the first time it happened. It had a little ravine where the water, habitually comes out that way.
Did you turn that in as a fix-it form or a?
I called.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I emailed and told Eddie
Okay.
Garcia as well.
So the dog park, other than the splash pad, is maintained by Falcon Point HOA. I'm assuming you're talking about the water tank.
The water,
that
it's the
captures-
water tank.
So it's water from the splash pad. It goes into the tank, and then it's used for irrigation. So I don't know if maybe they weren't running the irrigation or they had some problems or whatever, so the water going in was, the tank didn't have all the capacity for the water.
Yeah, I know, I did talk to, when I was in the city offices, forgot his name, but he was on the parks and, not the park side, the utility side, and he had said that there was an issue at that park, that a lot of water consumption was being done, and that there was some restrictions or something that they were putting on that park because the irrigation was being used too much, or I just wanted to, get, if there's an issue there, that we probably should look at it, and maybe nobody's kind of raised their head on it. So I just want to make sure that it's on somebody's list to, hey, is that water consumption there normal? Because I've seen it, and it's not, it's very obvious that it happens all the time.
So the tank is not potable water, it's water that comes from the splash pad.
Splash pad. Mhm.
But I'll check into that.
Yeah, just to,
Yeah, it's maintained by the HOA, but I'll do you know who you talked to in utilities? Do you remember? No. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't write down a name, but. Let's see, I know it's not parks, because I had emailed you about it, but I did want to mention, since I've mentioned it several times about the offices and how the landscaping has been an issue. It looks fabulous, and I just want to commend the city for doing such a great job. It just looks so much better. They painted the sign, you could tell. It just looks so much better. Thank you guys for helping me get that through the city.
That was, I believe that was Ahmad Shama with our facilities group, and I passed on the kudos to him.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
it looks
yeah,
really,
it
really
does
good.
What are you
look
talking
really
about?
The
The
city,
landscape here
the
in front of City
landscaping
Hall.
in the front here,
Oh, uh-huh.
they redid it. It was just, it looks great now. It looks fabulous, so thanks, guys. And I'm also moving, and I just wanted to note that the Creekside Park, that area is just immaculate. It's just so beautiful, and I was like, wow, it's just so nice here. So, anyway, looks good. Thank you so much.
Pass it on. Like James says, I'm gonna get to talk about the fun stuff here. This is what I like to do and is a passion here. I got a great group of guys that work for me, and we've really come together this last year and accomplished quite a few tasks this year. I'm very proud of my guys. A lot of them stepped up to the plate, did some stuff that was out of their comfort zone, took on some things that was a challenge for them, but they powered through it and got it done. So some of the things we did in this last year were we had a staff that competed in the Traps Regional Maintenance Rodeo. And if you don't know what a maintenance rodeo is, it's a contest where grounds guys go and there's a mower obstacle course. So they drive a mower through an obstacle course, and it's all timed. There's a backhoe event. There's a truck and trailer competition. You have to drive a truck and trailer through a competition and through an obstacle course and do that. So we had one of our employees that actually qualified at the regional in Austin and got to go state in Abilene and compete there. So actually, no, he didn't make it there because of the bad weather. But that was a real opener for the guys here. They hadn't been anything like that in a long time, so they had a lot of fun, and it was fun to see them progress through that. So some other stuff that we did, assisted volunteers with the one-day cleanup after Deutschenfest. We had, I can't remember the group, it was the Rotary and Knights of Columbus and some of the Lions Club came out. We did a big volunteer work day and did a massive cleanup, spread some dirt, spread some seed. Really made a huge difference in Pflugerville Park. It was a big help, and we coordinated a lot of that with them. And then we did a week-long blitz. And I think on here it says for Deutschfest, but I think that was for the birthday party. It was right before the big Music in the Park birthday party.
Yeah.
We came up with a list of things. I had the crew leaders get together, and we came up with a bunch of maintenance projects in there, stuff that I wanted that place looking immaculate for that party. So
And it did. It looked great.
so all the staff came together. I had a whole crews throughout the week all over there doing little projects and odd jobs where they're specialized in stuff that they do with carpentry and painting and all that stuff that we can do. So they did that. We do quarterly meetings as a whole for the Parks and Rec staff and park maintenance, and then it's once a month. James comes out to our shop, and we have a morning meeting with the guys. We sit down and just we talk about stuff, just kind of an open format. Questions, concerns, ideas, thoughts. Another project we worked on was finning soccer fields. James kind of touched on that. I think we got a new aerator in this last budget. An aerator is a very versatile machine in it, and we aerified a dozen times across that field this last summer. Got the sprinkler system up and running. I've got some pictures of that, and we aerated and we actually top dressed it. We put 72 yards of a blended mix on top of that field, and then we rolled it with a big roller to smooth it out, and it's looking really good over there. So we installed 9 drinking fountains. I think we had a total of 4, I think is what we had to put in. There's the remaining ones, there's issues with water at those parks. We either don't have water, or we have to cross a sidewalk, or we have to get water to those areas. So we're still working on that, trying to get all that.
Thank you so much. That was one of those projects from 3 years ago that's finally almost done.
Another big thing was the rec center's birthday this year. So staff came together, and another piece of equipment we got for last year in our budget was a portable power washer. It's gas powered, it's heated. We use that to power wash the entire exterior of the rec center, and we had guys go through. One of my guys he's already retired once, and he retired as a painter. And so he came through and said, we can do this. So he did a lot of painting at the rec center, which was really spruced it up front. Some of the awnings and stuff like that. The staff out at the lake did a renovation on the trail. We added, gosh, I don't even know how many cubic yards we put out there. 60 or 70? No, it was more than that, wasn't it? I don't remember. It was a lot. Yeah, it was $15,000 worth of decomposed granite. They made a lot of trips around that lake. We top dressed it, added a lot of material, did a lot of leveling work, and we're going to continue that process over the next few years as we go on. They're actually been doing some of the last couple weeks out there. So as the grounds change and dry up and get wet and expand and crack, and we're trying to keep those in a better condition than it's been. So we bought 2 loads of engineered wood fiber this year and have gone. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we've covered all of our parks this year with a topping of fresh stuff. We'll do that again next year. Just it's a continuous process. As you know, we had 3 major storm events, which flooded just about every low water crossing, and in addition to my office and
Twice.
yeah, a lot of stuff. So the guys did a lot of work cleaning up on trails and getting out and getting the stuff removed. And then we also worked with Public Works on some of the other projects to stuff that we just couldn't handle because we didn't have the equipment. They came in and helped us out on some stuff. So you'll see a picture. There's a large section of concrete trail near Finning Lane. I think that's the Brook Hollow Trail that goes up. We replaced that section of concrete. It was broken up real bad. Got that done. The old playscape at Windermere has been removed. We did that all in-house. Guys tore it out, cleaned it off, and it's in phases of the border is put in around it right now for the new one, and they're, as soon as they're done with Black Locust, they're going to jump on that playground. They've already started some preliminary stuff there. We did a lot of repairs to the Little League facility for the Little League. Brought in a bunch of dirt for them. We did some renovations to one of the facilities there, the awning over the concession stand. We did some repair on that and replaced the retaining wall there for them. So, and then for the Arbor Day, we planted all the trees out at Pecan Park, and we've got all those irrigated now. We're fixing to start October 10th. We're doing another tree planting on the other side of Emmanuel, and there's some more information coming on that, but we're gonna, in that plan, we're gonna irrigate all those trees on that side. So all those trees that are kind of in that bottom down there are gonna get a drip system on them, so they'll all have water regularly. So here's some of the pictures. This is that trail I'm telling you about. You can see the cracks that were there from settling over the years, and then the main section that we replaced. I think it was like 60 feet. It was like 60 feet that we went through there. So Windermere Playground. I have to say that was a lot of fun. It was interesting. So pictures of the water fountain, some of the installs we did, trenching, running the water lines for the fountains, actually pouring the concrete for them and seeing it finished in there. That was one of the projects that was a real struggle for the guys. It took them a little while the first one was very much a learning process, but once they got that first one under their belt, they were rocking and rolling. So again, some of the flood issues we had through various parks there. That railing we lost 2 of the 3 railings that we had in the Memorial Day flood. That's Windermere Park. Memorial Day, it washed almost a third of all the pea gravel out from under that playscape. The guys put it all back in for the time being. And in that picture on the left, we lost the wooden handrail. I had staff go back out and repair it, patch it, put it back up. It was all still mostly there. They just had to replace a couple pieces of wood in it. So again, there's the sprinklers at Finning Field in the top left. That's my painter, Rudy. He's a character. So, but if you have questions about paint, he can definitely answer those. So, those are the 3 guys that competed at the rodeo in regional Austin: Gabriel, Jose, and Albert. Albert's the one on the right that actually qualified for state when we went there. So, some of the special events, we were asked to participate in the Red Poppy Fest and parade. So Rhonda was there. So it was a pretty cool event to see that go on, and guys had a blast being in it. If you haven't seen the video, I think it's on the website of
We
that whole
had fun.
parade and everything. So they had a good time. This was spring fling. Yeah, spring fling at the rec center. We brought out equipment demo. So we had Public Works bring out some of their equipment. We had our new gators out there and some of the new mowers that Public Works bought. So kids were climbing all over and having a blast, and our guys had fun being out there with them. And there's the tree planting. Like I said, staff, we picked up the trees, brought them in, helped put them in the ground, and
Oh,
we pre-dug all the holes and had them there, which we'll do for the next one again. Huh? Yeah. And again, like events, if you see Christmas lights along Pecan or pretty much most of the lights in town, it's our guys that do that. From Gateway, the big tree at the Gateway, to the trees at Gilliland Creek, to the Green Red Barn, I had a staff that spent, with additional lights this year, was almost 3 weeks putting up lights. And then obviously the Christmas, we had the parade with the bonfire and the floats and everything there. So that's all I had. Do you have any questions or thoughts or
Yeah,
comments?
I did have a question on, I know that your office is flooded not once but twice. Has that berm been completed so it doesn't happen again?
Yes, there's I call it Mount Pflugerville now, because it's almost as tall as me back there. So we shouldn't have any more problems with that.
Good.
I think Joey, in the last rain the other day, had some water in his office, but what they figured out is it came off of the building, and there's no place for that to go. So they're gonna, the gutter
French
system.
drain or
Yeah,
something?
well, yeah, they're gonna have to redirect it right there. So, they're working on that. So it was very minute what got in there, but I didn't have any of mine, so that was nice.
Okay. What are the plans for the lake mowing?
It's under contract.
So
Is-
we're under contract for,
Oh,
we
I'm
have
sorry.
a mower.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm thinking grass still. Above grade.
Oh,
You're talking about
yeah,
in the lake.
In the lake,
In the
yes.
lake,
The
yes.
lake mowing the.
Yes, we
actual-
have a lake mower.
Did we get the permit for the possession of
No, we don't have the permit yet.
the stuff that we're mowing? When will we know about that? Will we have that ready for this spring when we start our marathons and stuff? We'll have that. And how are the carp doing? Is there progress?
Good as far as I can tell. I haven't heard.
They're growing.
They're
I mean,
growing.
they're young. Texas Parks and Wildlife came out and did their annual vegetation survey.
Mhm.
The vegetation has not expanded. It hadn't reduced, but it hasn't expanded, so the carp are helping right now. They're still pretty young. As they grow, they're going to be able to eat more, and so we think we might kind of top the hill. But we will be doing some lake mowing, especially around the beach, around some of the piers, and then the triathlon course. But there will be a lot of portions of the lake that we're not going to be able to get with the lake mower that we've got. But we're going to focus on the areas that get the most use and make sure that it's clear for.
Have you figured out what you're going to do with the grass or the weeds once you get it out? I mean, I know that was
Yeah, no,
an
you
issue.
can throw it in a dumpster.
Oh, you can?
You just can't take it to another body of water.
Okay.
They don't care what you do as long as it doesn't go in another body of water. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I thought there'd be a specific disposal protocol, but no, they can go in the dumpster there.
Okay. All right. So that's fun. One last question. I noticed last time I was out at Pfluger Park that some of the really great playground equipment that's lasted over the years needs paint. The maintenance of it is, it's all works. It looks great, except it needs maybe a little paint. Is that on a schedule?
We'll look at it. I mean, paint's not a safety thing. I know it's aesthetic.
Right. It's aesthetic, but it
Problem
is
with
our.
paint is once you get into paint, you're always painting.
Well, yeah,
like the
because
Golden
I remember
Gate
it got
Bridge.
painted because
You
I had
gotta-
mentioned it a couple of years ago, and now
Yeah.
that paint's already chipped.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you start on one end, and when you get to the other side, you start again.
Right.
It's just a maintenance thing.
One of these days, it will replace that playground.
Oh,
And I
I
mean,
hope not.
it's
It's a
like
great
the
playground.
second oldest playground we have, and it's got 20, off the top of my head, we had the report, it's like 22 deficiencies, that some of them are pretty severe, but yeah, we'll look at painting, but
Every time I go there, the kids just absolutely love that swing. That is
Mhm.
just, it's old school, and the kids, they love it.
yeah, no, I understand.
I did have a follow-up to my fix-it request for mowing of Stonehill Park, so I didn't know if that had been completed yet. I drive by, but I don't always go to the place where,
Yeah, I talked with Mike Lanahan, Public Works, who's in charge of mowing, and he told me that they did a pass around the perimeter, but they haven't done all of it yet. I think part of that's construction concerns, but I'll touch base with him tomorrow.
because there's a lot of people in our neighborhood and kids that, because eventually when that park is there, our trail will connect to the park trail, but they use that as a shortcut to get to the Stonehill Shopping Center, and it's not safe right now, especially with the construction on the other side. So,
Yeah, I'll talk to Mike tomorrow.
I got a question about Lake Pflugerville. I notice a lot of people, when they go out there, they'll take their own charcoal grills out there, and then when they're done with it, they'll just kind of just dump the charcoals. I'm sure you'll see them, you're coming to see them all the time, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but there's a lot of, you go in early in the morning, or you see a lot of piles of that, and just people dumping hot coals. I don't think it's a great idea. I wonder, like, there's some place, maybe we can make something, or people can actually dump their coals when they're done with them.
I've been trying to figure out, because you're not the first one to bring that up.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, and I've been trying to come up with some kind of something to design. I've talked to, I think it's Bastrop. We have a worker that was here that went to Bastrop, and he was gonna let me know what they do, because they were having the same issues down there, and they were working on something. So I don't have an answer for that right now, but it's something we definitely need to address.
Great, thanks.
Whether it's a metal box or something like that. So
If we had maybe more barbecue pits, and, that was the only location that they could barbecue, was the barbecue pits that are provided, maybe that would help, because at least it will be, not on the beach and that kind of thing. And then, the police are out there all the time saying, hey, somebody has a pit that's not our pit. Maybe that would be a good solution, just to toss around an idea.
That's some of the things that we're looking at a park ranger program for, because we can't be there all the time. A lot of the grills are not supposed to be out there right now. If it's open top, we're in a burn ban, they shouldn't be there. So a lot of the piles are probably coming off little bitty open top grills that somebody picked up at the 7-Eleven, honestly, and they're going to want to be on the beach. So that's one of the things that we're looking at addressing with the park ranger program. There's a lot of little things like that we know we need to get under control. So,
Yeah, something to think about. Thanks.
Like a citizens on patrol, or park?
paid staff.
Paid staff, okay.
thank you guys.
All right,
great,
thanks.
thank you so much.
Looking good out there.
All right, we'll move on to item number 5, discuss and consider action. 5A, discuss and consider action to provide recommendation to approve the construction of amenities on public parkland in conjunction with the Swenson Farms condominiums development.
So, this is the first one under the new, or the revised UDC as it relates to parkland dedication, that we've had. For a second. But anyway, this is the first one that actually addresses what we're going to talk about tonight. And the section of the subchapter that's specifically why we're here is if there is a plan or a public amenity that's going to be constructed on public parkland, it comes to the commission. We've got Swenson Farms condo project. They simply want to build a trail that will connect their development to the Gillen Creek Trail. a section of that trail has to occur on Finnick Park. And so that's what we're here tonight to discuss. So basically, this item will allow for construction of that trail that connects their new condo project with the existing Gillen Creek Trail.
Awesome.
So this is just a plan sheet from the construction drawings that shows what you're considering tonight. I believe it's 620 feet or something like that. 6 foot wide concrete sidewalk, again, that will connect their brand new development that they're working on with the existing trail. This is kind of that section of trail shown on an aerial. The Swenson Farms condominium project, it's like 15-acre development. The number of units that they have, which goes into the number of people that they're bringing and things like that, falls under the 3-acre threshold. So it's an administrative approval for this project. They're proposing to do some park improvements on site, do some potential cash in lieu of parkland, and then have a little private park.
It'd be nice to see a trail on both sides of that creek. How far is their project? Is it that whole lot?
It's actually both sides of Swenson Farms. So the first phase, which is phase 2, counterintuitive, but the first phase they're developing is phase 2, is the east side of Swenson Farms. And so it does go all the way up almost to the creek. We do have park property that actually runs between their development and the creek. So if you drew this red line all the way up,
Is that a possibility? To make a loop?
it is, but it doesn't go anywhere because
It would make a loop if it was connected all the way up there, then you could go run on the other side of the creek all the way back.
the property that we own, the city property, actually dives down before you could get back up. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's a bluff and then the big we own the face of the bluff and down.
Okay, actually, I've
So
been there, so I know.
yeah, so the back of their lots will be really on the bluff line.
On the bluff line?
So there's not an opportunity to connect.
Okay.
There's an opportunity to go through their
Built all the way.
development on their sidewalks and make a loop, but not for along the creek. So they've submitted letter of intent basically to do cash in lieu and then some development on site. They're going to do a little playground, some playground equipment, things like that. But again, what we're discussing tonight is this section of trail. That's what is being considered. So whether or not we want them to construct 620 feet of 6 foot wide concrete trail to tie in with the Gillen Creek.
I think the connection's awesome. I love connections and love the trails.
And although it's not really being considered tonight, this is the remainder of the trail that connects in, and it's all going to be 6 feet. They're not going to a 4 foot sidewalk or whatever. It's going to be a 6 foot sidewalk that actually connect to their cul-de-sac and their private park here to the Gillen Creek Trail.
Why is it 6 foot instead of the standard 10 the rest of the trails are?
So the standard 10 foot is our main spine trails, and then connectors can be a little smaller, and they're proposing a 6 foot.
Okay.
And it's just for their low connection at 6 foot is
That's
adequate. Yeah, but it's not part of the main spine. It's an offshoot just to connect in their neighborhood. So yeah.
So
They're-
sorry.
Also with the trail connection, they're going to put the doggy pot bags or the waste stations, some benches, and probably plant some trees along as well. So they're actually doing the trail and then adding amenities to that trail section in the parkland.
So, if I understand this correctly, because I'm reading the letter and it says have a bonded amount of $88,000. So is that $88,000 going into our park escrow fund, or that $88,000 is used to build the sidewalk, or
It's going to be
$88,000
used.
plus the sidewalk, or?
It's going to, so the 88,000 is for this phase. I think it's 180 or 190 total for the two phases combined. And the park improvements that they're doing, including the sidewalk, they'll get credit for because those are park improvements. So that's why they posted fiscal in lieu of writing us a check and refunding the escrow once they've completed the improvements.
So the improvements can go towards fee in lieu of the land? Or that only goes towards the development fee?
Let me find our letter real quick. I'll have to look at that. I think we're,
Because of course, I didn't bring my stuff today, but
Yeah, I didn't
I'm
bring
pretty
my
sure
binder
the,
either.
the credit only goes toward the development fee, that the land is still a fee in lieu that would go to the escrow parkland.
okay, I'll look at that. I'll look at that. and
Per the
right,
ordinance.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely going to follow the ordinance on that. I don't have my binder with me either, but I will look at that for sure. Yeah. No, because if it's not allowed to be combined, then no, they've got to still make a cash payment for the fee in lieu of land. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Any questions on the proposed trail on the parkland, Fitting Park?
No, but I would just like if you could communicate with them that putting shade over the playground would be desirable. I know they have a shade option, but it looks like as an arbor area over the picnic tables. But just as that's sort of the standard, and
Right.
you know, in order to prolong the life of their equipment and also make it usable to the residents to have the shade.
Definitely.
So. So, I guess we'll entertain a motion to approve the building of the trail on public parkland, to be given credit towards the development fee. Is that,
Yeah, so
What
approve
is
the
it- is that-
construction of the trail on public parkland and then credit of the development fee towards
The-
the construction.
the construction of the trail will go towards that development fee? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll move that we approve the construction of the trail for the Swenson Farms condominium development, the trails.
And I will second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we'll move on to item 5B, discuss and consider action to place items on future Parks and Recreation Commission meeting agendas.
I would like to have an update on all of the buildings that we have in Pflugerville. I know the old library we still have is a public building, Billy House, not the Pfluger House at the Red Green Barn,
Bowles House.
the Bowles House, the, update status on what's going on with that. And any other ones, those are the only ones that I know of, but I'm sure we may have other buildings that we have. But it would be nice to have hey, this is what we have in our city stock of buildings that we use for parks and rec or other city things. Just an update. I just know those 3 buildings that we have, but I know most likely we have more than that.
And if we have that, there's also the Pfluger House that's on the property, the
Right.
Timmerman property, that I saw an article about it.
That's not ours.
No, I know
or
it's
yeah.
not ours, but I don't know
We-
if there's any update, because there's a historic, or there's,
Yeah,
you know, a
we can-
volunteer
we can
organization or
invite- We can
something.
invite a representative from the Pfluger House Foundation. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
saw about it, and so,
we'll see if they'll come and kind of, I'm sure they'll jump at the opportunity
Yeah.
to talk about the project and share some information.
just in visiting other cities on vacation and everything, there's lots of museums and things that bring visitors into different cities. Like I visited Andrew Jackson, the Hermitage House, and lots of different things. So if we have anything that's historical like that, I think it's, it would be nice to know a little bit more about it and preserving it for future generations and visitation, and tourism.
Right. And possibly
Yeah.
partnering with the seniors to, keep these museums opening.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was my suggestion for next.
I got a question and a suggestion. Maybe somebody's been here a while, maybe like you, Trey, can answer this. Didn't we used to have a street dance in Pflugerville, and I think like maybe in conjunction with the Chili Fest? Or? I would like to see something like that. I don't know if that's a Parks and Recs department question. Pardon me? Oh, really? I would like to see something in conjunction with Chili Fest, like a street dance. Maybe have it go into the evening since you've already got the street shut down. I mean, just a thought, but I think that'd be fun, interesting, get the city together and all, in the fall. So
Well, there's always dancing at the music.
yeah,
Park.
it's music and a Deutschenfest and bands playing. Yeah, but something we don't have anything like that in the fall.
So do we need to vote on the updates on building, or did you want to do that in director's updates, or?
I can do that director's report. Just understand there's very limited that's under the control of Parks and Rec, but I can get information about what it is. 'Cause yes.
We just give you an
Yeah, we can give you an inventory and what it's being used for and, yeah.
That would
Okay.
be great. Just out of curiosity, what do we have and what's it being used for, and what would you like it used for? What do you hey, we have this and it sure would be great to be our offices.
Yeah.
Our, progressing towards that.
All right. Any other items for future agenda consideration? All right. Oh, you have them?
I just lost it though.
You can always email
Yeah.
if you want to.
Next time.
All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All right. All in favor?
I'm a second kind of gal.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We are adjourned. Thank
All right,
you,
thank y'all
everyone.
very much.
Good job.